Hello everyone. Now we are in the beginning of May, and of course we have a very important event in these days, which it is the Mother's Day. All of us all over the world, or most of the families all over the world, celebrating this day, of course, and we waiting for this day every year. But suddenly I found that some people hate it or dislike it or something like that, and also I received some questions about, is the Mother's Day a pagan celebration, which it is very strange for me when I received this question. And suddenly I found also a lot of people began to speak about it and to explain much more about the paganism in this day or this celebration and something like this, which was very strange for me. Of course, I would like to share with you my opinion about it and my information about this day regarding to our old civilization and what had happened at this time long ago, if it is also have a special type of dance or not. Mother's Day is a modern holiday that originated in the United States. This idea started in America when a woman called Anna Jarvis held a small memorial service for her own mother on 12 May 1907. Soon after, most places in America were observing the day, and in 1914 the US president made it a national holiday, celebrated on the second Sunday of May. So it did not exist in ancient Egypt. However, ancient Egyptians did hold great reverence for motherhood, and many of their costumes and beliefs reflected this. In ancient Egypt, the goddess Isis was considered the mother of all ancient Egyptians. She was also the goddess of fertility and motherhood. The ancient Egyptians believed that they were direct descendants of the gods, and therefore the ancient Egyptian mother was highly respected and regarded as a powerful figure. There were a type of dance associated with motherhood, was the dance of the goddess Isis. Isis was a goddess associated with the motherhood and fertility, and her dance was often performed during religious festivals and ceremonies. The dance involved the use of hand gestures and movements that were meant to mimic the movements of the goddess herself. In addition to this specific dance, there were also many other forms of dance that celebrated the beauty and grace of the female form. Women were often depicted to or in tomb art and other forms of ancient Egyptian art, dancing and playing musical instruments. And this depiction was served as a testament to the importance of dance in ancient Egyptian culture. One way in which the ancient Egyptians celebrated motherhood was through the celebration of the goddess Hathor. Hathor was the goddess of love, music, and joy, and was often depicted as a cow or woman with cow horns. Her festival was celebrated annually and was called the Festival of Drunkenness, during which people would drink beer and dance in honor of Hathor. Another way that ancient Egyptians celebrated motherhood was through practice of mummification. The bodies of deceased ancient Egyptians and their mothers were mummified and given elaborate burial ceremonies to ensure their successful journey to the afterlife. In ancient Egypt, the role of motherhood was highly valued and respected. Women were considered the primary caretakers of children, were responsible for their upbringing, education, and well-being. Motherhood was seen as a divine gift, and the ability to bear children was considered a blessing from the gods. In Egyptian mythology, there were many goddesses who were associated with motherhood and fertility, including Isis, Hathor, and Nut. These goddesses were often depicted with symbols of motherhood, such as the cow horns or the solar disk, and were believed to protect mothers and their children. One interesting aspect of ancient Egyptian motherhood was the practice of wet nursing. Wealthy families often employed wet nurses to breastfeed their children, as it was believed that their mother's milk contained magical properties that would help that child grow strong and healthy. Wet nurses were highly respected and were often depicted in tomb arts as nurturing and caring figure. Another way in which ancient Egyptians celebrated motherhood was through the decoration of tombs and temples. Many tombs and temples featured scenes of mothers and their children, depicting the bonds between them and the love and care that mothers provided for their children. Overall, while the concept of Mother's Day as specific holiday did not exist in ancient Egypt, the culture was deeply rooted in the celebration of motherhood and the importance of the mother's figure or mother figure in society. After all this information I told you about the motherhood and the Mother's Day in ancient Egypt, if we say Mother's Day in ancient Egypt, and of course now I would like to ask you if this was exactly pagan holiday or pagan celebration. If it is like this, please tell me, because very strange when I hear something like this and I receive this question. And of course now you can do this comparison between the meaning of the Mother's Day and this time, or the ancient Egyptian in this time long ago, how they celebrated like this way. Of course I can explain you much more about the costumes and how they wear these costumes and the amulets and a lot of things like that, but now I concentrated actually much more on the meaning behind the motherhood and how these people were celebrating this day like this way with this way what I explained to you. Of course, I will be very glad to receive your comments and your opinion and also your questions about the ancient Egyptians' time and this motherhood this time long ago and the celebration of Mother's Day now and the difference between both. And now I will leave it with you to tell me exactly if it is pagan or not. Thank you very much and see you in my next video.